What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Wondrous Brewing Company, and they're out of Emeryville, California, and this is their Wondrous Hell. So they're calling this one a Hell Lager beer, which is a German-style Helles lager. It comes in at 5% alcohol by volume, 18 IBUs, and at the time of review, this can is approximately 5 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Jesse, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with, and I'm excited about this one for a couple different reasons. Number one, I've never heard of this brewery, and I always love discovering new breweries courtesy of beer mail, so I've never heard of Wondrous Brewing Company, so I'm really excited about this one. On top of that, this is a German-style Helles lager, and when it comes to, say, low ABV crushers, Helles lager, definitely at the top of the totem pole for me. Definitely in the top two, we'll say. So yeah, this is really exciting. This one says it's a Helles made with barley, water, hops, and a yeast, unfiltered, lagered cold, the whole nine. And I don't know much, like I said, about these guys, but I'm really excited. So let's crack this one open, get into it, and see what we got going on. Now, the reason why I like Helles more so than a lot of other low ABV lagers and whatnot is I just love the complexity to the malt profile. Usually it has this really nice bready characteristic, and I don't know, so it does something for me. I really enjoy them, so I'm hoping this is quite tasty. We'll put this one over here, and yeah, that has a nice typical beer look to it. Has this like yellow straw color. It's gonna maybe look a little bit darker on camera. In person, has more of like a, yeah, I just saw, I'd say a yellow straw color. It's unfiltered, so, you know, there's a little bit of sediment probably floating around in there, but it does have some clearness to it. Decent carbonation, about a 2-finger of this bright white, fluffy looking head. Yeah, that looks like a Helles lager. Let's get a nose. That's what I'm talking about. So that malt profile, it's just bready, and it kind of reminds me of just like really, really good, just regular white bread, honestly. Maybe a slight, almost biscuity thing going on, but more just bready. I'm getting a nice earthy, slightly spicy kind of hop profile, maybe a touch of floral. There's like a lemony kind of lemony citrus twang there as well. Has a touch of that lager funk that a lot of people say, that like sulfur-esque kind of note. Very minute, but it's there. Yeah, it's tough reviewing Helles lagers and pilsners and things of that nature because they're very simplistic. I mean, they can be complex, but they're very simplistic. And when you smell them, you kind of already know what it is. And it's hard to describe that and change up the descriptions for each one. And they're just very similar. It depends on, you know, if it's made well or not, right? The quality. So I always feel like when I review these ones, I'm saying the same thing over and over. But I guess you could say that for like hazies and whatnot too. But yeah, it just smells really good and inviting. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Jesse. Bam. Fucking, this is a great Helles. It just has, I don't know, if you've never had a Helles lager, and, you know, it varies between, say, this and a Pilsner, the difference between the balance of the beer, between the hops and the malts and what comes to the forefront. For Helles, for me, it's always that bready malt character. And when I take that first sip, I'm always reminded why I enjoy this style more so than others out there. Body in this is like lower side medium, approaching medium. For a 5% Helles beer, it's probably full bodied, but you know, for a beer overall, it's really nice. The mouthfeel, it's crisp, it's very clean, it's refreshing, but it does have a nice smooth kind of body to it. It's not super carbonated, it's not super crisp. It's really smooth too on the palate. So easy to drink. The flavor is, again, very simplistic, not super complex, but there's complexities within that simplistic kind of, you know, the simplistic characteristics in this beer. Right at the forefront, the breadiness hits. Like I said, it's a really nice, almost slightly like toasted kind of white bread. It's a little bit of like a biscuity, almost honey thing going on. Passes through the palate. The hops hit about midway through. Floral, earthy, touch of spice. There's an underlying like lemony zestiness here. Not too big, just very, very minute, but it's there. Finishes semi-dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. This is more to the mild side of things than moderate. I think This one is more about the malt than it is the hops. So it leans maybe like 60-40, 70-30 with that malt goodness. Just super easy to fucking drink. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this beer. And when I say that, it almost sounds like I'm like not, oh, there's nothing wrong with this beer. It's fine. It's just like, it's very simplistic, but it's really tasty. I don't give these beers high scores because I've said this before. When it comes to lagers and, Pilsners, Helles, you can throw Kolsch's out there, Keller beers, this, that, and the other. They'll never be my favorite style, but I get why they're so popular. I mean, they're super easy to drink. You can crush a bunch of these, and they're just good. And that's kind of where this one lands. So, Wondrous Hell, the German-style Helles lager from Wondrous Beer Company. I have no problem. Let me just pour the rest if I can. Oh, just a beautiful looking beer on top of that. Oh, it's not going to go over. Great pour. We have to do the proper here. Oh my God, thumbnail. I'm going to give this a high 4.25 and go 4.3 out of 5. This is one of the better Helleses I've had lately. This is delicious. If you're talking about stylistically, this is as close as you probably can come from American Brewery. I'd probably give it like a 4.75 stylistically, but 4.3 out of 5. Really high score for me. And I don't take those scores lightly when it comes to beers like this, because a lot of times I'll underrate these just because I'm not the biggest fan of the styles. This is fucking great. So price and availability, I have no idea. This is where hopefully Jesse helps out, or anyone else in the California, well, I was going to say California area. It's a state, Joe. Anybody in California or around Emeryville, or you can get your hands on their beers. What would you pay for something like this? I would hope, I know it's California, I would hope something like this is 10 to 12 bucks a 4-pack. I could see this being $14 a 4-pack. If it's over that, just for beers like that, that's too expensive in my opinion. But if this was like in the $10 to $14 range and closer to say $10 to $12, I'd be all over it. And availability, like I said, hopefully somebody can let me know. Hopefully they get decent distribution, but I doubt it probably. I don't know. All I know is this is a really good beer. 5%, you obviously can't tell with beers like this. You know you're drinking a beer, but it's not, you don't get any like alcohol shoots or anything. If you do it a 5% beer, you know something's up. Anyway, thanks to Jesse for this beer. If you've had this one before, post in the description box. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you guys are drinking a delicious German-style Helles lager. And until the next one, Prost. Cheers.